a bad guy word, or bad guy words in general, is something that I'm sure definitely doesn't apply to you, whoever may be looking at me saying this right now. And there's no way that you could possibly be a bad guy word, because those are only what bad people are, you know, and it happens in the movies or whatever, of ism or phobic. And if you were, I'm sure you would definitely just tell me that, right? Like, same for anybody who's committing a literal crime. If you were trying to steal my shit, if you want to lead me somewhere discreet and murder me, if you're a stalker, I'm sure you're definitely just gonna walk right up to me. And you're gonna be like, hey, I'm definitely the neighbor that's gonna call the police on you too many times for no reason other than your ethnic friends that you bring over. I'm definitely gonna be upfront about the fact that I'm secretly a con artist, and don't check your purse because I've definitely taken all of your debit cards by now. And I'm just gonna inform you of that. There's no way I would just keep that to myself, right? I mean, why? Because, of course, if somebody's accusing me of possessing some heinous, awful trait, that all I gotta do to ward off that suspicion is defensively go like, no, I'm not, and my reasons that I'm not a serial killer is because this, and this, and why are you guys saying that I'm a serial killer? You're asking so many questions. Obviously, it's totally normal that I can insult you in any way I want. It's not weird that you're like a little too ready for me to bruise and batter your ego, as if you are doing something that's gonna make people want to do that in the first place, right? Now, there's nothing weird about the fact that you're actually way more offended by a solid line of questioning that ensures other people are safe and not getting fucked over by you, right? You know, you're not literally skinning dogs alive in your basement or something. You don't see some little kid get an ice cream cone and think, wow, I'm gonna punch that dude in the face. So clearly, there's nothing malicious about you, you know? When you see something horrible happening, you're either, you know, saying that there's nothing you can really do about it, or the way that the wind's been blowing, you know, don't look at me. I'm sure you would have been one of the progressive ones back then, if by progressive you mean instead of doing what you do now in the present day and having fun with it because you can have a protagonist complex and pretend to be all the characters that you see on TV, and who existed in a time where you didn't have as many characters to mimic, so eventually you would participate in the sadistic traditions that others had normalized and made into a fundamental pastime, made into a civic duty. You wouldn't have been saying the N-word with a hard R everywhere you go, but you just would have been saying that things should be separate but equal. And if you were lived further before that, would be trying to find the 1950s version of progressive and saying you'd be one of the good slave owners, right? Yeah, yeah. And if you think that any of the people who had done horrible things throughout history but ended up losing major wars and conflicts and did not hold enough power to reinforce their fucked up state of mind to this day. Yeah, people like Confederates and Nazis and imperialist Japan, if you really support those ideas and think that they were right and they should have won, they should have moved forward, like you would totally just admit that to everyone. You would go onto your social media right now and you would say, I definitely think that the Catholic Inquisition should have been our 24/7 way of life. You know, I definitely think that life begins at conception because, you know, God or something. You can't really name where you found it in your religious codex where it says that that abortion is wrong and that it's murder, but I'm sure that that's really what you believe. If you were just trying to baby trap women, then obviously you'd be writing that all up on your Tinder bio. You would just tell everybody that. You would say, hey, I think that I should be able to poke a hole in a condom and make a woman my property because I'm too insecure to hold any relationship for longer than a month. And I blame women for that. And I watch Tim Pool, and everything bad about my life is because of society. It's because of groups that are not me, just acknowledging themselves and acknowledging the things that other people who look like me have done to put them in weirder positions. It's all of them, you know, saying that they're victims and then looking at me like I have any implicit guilt in anything, you know? One time I was called a racist, and I didn't do anything to warrant that. So now, anytime that somebody is calling somebody else a racist, you know, it's totally reasonable to just not believe it, because everybody is that one dude who said some weird shit about you, and you couldn't defend yourself against a lie one time when you were a teenager. Oh my God, oh my stars. Bad guy words.